AI is supposed to be transformative technology, but right now it's more like a mirror, reflecting back the priorities, the languages, and the problems of the small slice of humanity that built it. What happens when you flip that? When you build AI for the majority, not the minority? Chenai, can you share a moment when AI failed someone because their language wasn't available or an option? What happened?
I think for me personally, it's always frustrating when I'm trying to interact with any AI system in my own language, which is Shona, and then the answer that I get is garbage. And it can be funny in the beginning, but when I'm looking for something really serious, it's disheartening.
Just how big is this problem? How many African languages are we talking about?
There are over 2,000 African languages and counting that are currently existent. Just a quick search I did right now, ChatGPT only covers mainly Amharic, Swahili, and Somali. But when we think about how well they work, we actually then have to do the assessments in terms of, do they work well in the interpretation that you get? Do they work well in the context and the relevant answer you get? And do they work well without someone having to shift how they speak in order for the system to understand them?
Africa is not unique. Languages are being overlooked in the Middle East, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Native English speakers account for just 5% of the world's population, yet it's the dominant language used in AI training models. What's even more interesting is that 14 languages control 90% of the world's online purchasing power. So that's where AI investment flows. If your language isn't in the model, you don't just miss out on a chatbot, you're locked out of the next wave of digital services. So what does that look like in practice? Companies like Techno are betting they can build AI that adapts to the majority, not the other way around.
We've always stuck to a localization philosophy, developing AI functions around the user's local needs in each country. We rigorously evaluate every feature against one simple question. Does this genuinely solve a user problem? We prioritize multilingual support as a key investment, allowing users to naturally communicate with their phones in their native language.
This user problem filter becomes critical when you're building for the mass market in developing economies. The challenges are fundamentally different from mature markets.
So not everyone has access to a smart device. Most people have access to feature phones. So you do want to build edge AI that doesn't rely on much internet data, which still allows for people to interact with your service and system.
I've seen literacy statistics for some African countries. Now they're lower than I expected. If someone can't read or struggles with reading, how does that change what AI needs to be for them?
AI needs predominantly to be voice first. So for those who can communicate through voice, it can really work if it's voice first rather than standard text. And when I talk about standard text, it's usually textbook text that people have to go through a formal education system to be able to understand some of the words. And people don't speak like that every day. We speak in a way that's colloquial, that has slang in it.
We are not designing for edge cases. We are designing for the majority. I want to show you our AI assistant, Ella. What really sets her apart from other AI assistants is her language support. She can handle more languages than pretty much anyone else out there.
There must be over 70 languages on this list, with over half serving populations with less than 100 million speakers that Western AI ignores. If your language isn't supported, you don't just lose convenience, you lose access, trust, and economic participation. Across 16 key emerging economies, digital adoption will unlock $3.4 trillion annually by 2030. The people left out of AI aren't marginal, they're the next growth engine. At the United Nations, Lambert Hogenhout is trying to define what AI for the majority should look like.
AI agents are the next level of AI. They can automate tasks, book a ticket online, or maybe even draft a whole email and send it off. The combination of cloud services and AI empowers people in many regions. For example, women who could never have a career because they needed to stay at home, for example, to look after the children. They can now probably set up a business from their kitchen table. That was not possible 20 years ago.
It's one thing to build a business, it's another to find customers. Across Africa, French connects former colonial territories and entrepreneurs who can use this technology to unlock global markets that were once unreachable.
Hi, I found a good restaurant. Do you want to join us tonight?
Bonjour, j'ai trouvé un bon restaurant. Voulez-vous nous rejoindre ce soir?
Ah, bonjour Pan, c'est très gentil. Oui, à quelle heure?
Through our research, we observed that many parents passionately value their children's education but lack the formal training to help with homework.
Entering into problem-solving mode, you have a multimodal AI image recognition, natural language processing, and localized response generation that breaks down and explains how they got the answer every step of the way. Parents who couldn't afford tutors now have AI that works in their language on their phone. So the technology exists. The question is, how do you make sure you're building for the people who actually need it, not just imagining what they need?
AI has tremendous potential for good. From farmers using AI to predict weather patterns and to help them plant more crops. And the right way to use AI is to look very carefully at the context in which it is being used. I think the next step in the development of AI systems is localization. It includes multilingualism and it includes the local cultural context.
So when people see themselves represented in the systems that are being created, they're more likely to trust them. But then it's that ability for people to see someone who looks like them and someone who's accessible actually doing the dataset collection and the tool building.
This philosophy, built for the many, not the few, echoes across African-led AI initiatives where communities don't just use the technology, they build it.
So the work of Masakhane Research Foundation and ultimately the Hub has been to create community-driven datasets. I'll give you an example of a project I worked on with a group of young people out in Mombasa in Kenya. They were very excited to actually contribute text and voice because they felt proud to actually see their work and their language represented on a digital platform led by them.
Our approach is fundamentally different because we start from the ground up in these markets. This begins with maintaining complete product operations and user research teams in these regions. These teams don't just analyze data, they immerse themselves in communities to understand the actual challenges people face in communication, work, and education. These field observations then feed into our dedicated AI fundamental teams who specialize in translating these real-world insights into practical AI capabilities.
In South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, from research labs to factory floors, AI for the majority isn't a theory anymore. It's being built one language and one community at a time.